What's good, everybody? It's Batman. It's been a hot minute since we've last checked the Dygoknight video, but this video is Madara versus all Hokage. It's not even close. And Ken with Dygoknight skull emote. It'd be nice. Okay, but he's one of the GOATs. If you guys have not known him, make sure to check out his YouTube, and I'll either put him in the title and the link in the description down below. There's tons and tons and tons of content, mainly basically Naruto. I think he might do other stuff as well, but I'm not too sure. But either way, what's it called? Definitely check it out. Oh, his thumbnails are pretty cool. But anyways, definitely check it out. And you guys, if you like his content, awesome. If not, then I don't know, you do you. So, but we're new, and we're gonna get into it, and let's see how this video goes.
Every single Hokage, and for today's video we have once more Lightning Snow. Please introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back for another one.
So for this video, obviously the Hokage have a lot of different power levels, so we're gonna be picking a more appropriate version to make it a fair fight when it comes to Madara, and then we're gonna see which version is gonna be the toughest one against Hokage and which one.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'll be completely honest with this. There's really no fair fight. Hiruzen, washed. Tobirama, we've seen the result, washed. What's it called? I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, Hashirama wins. Minato, contentious. If you give him KCM, some people think he gets slammed in base. Some people think it's Madara wins, like, either low diff, mid diff, high diff. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, that's just kind of what you got. But, and Tsunade gets absolutely fucking washed. Boruto Kakashi would slam, and Naruto and Boruto would also slam. So, that's kind of what you got. But easy topic, though Madara beats everyone but Naruto, Kakashi, and Hashirama. Facts. You know what I mean? I think the majority and most people would agree with that simple, analysis. Basically, loses to Kakashi, Naruto, and Hashirama, but beats everyone else. You know what I mean? And that's completely reasonable. Minato's like the only one you could advocate for, though. You know what I mean? If you just say like he's just way faster, meaning like he just like kills Madara somehow, you could argue for based upon the feats that we see. You could argue for especially the one shot manga with Minato as a teen, what he's doing. You could also even argue, and then obviously if it's KCM, then there you go too. But I personally think Minato can beat fucking Hashirama and Madara. Now, if it's Madara with the Rinnegan and he's alive, that's a little different because, like, we've seen like KCM2 Naruto fight against alive Madara, and he was doing decent, but he couldn't really win. Limbo was basically just shit on them all. And I think once Madara does Limbo, Minato's just fucked. You know what I mean? Like, you would have to argue he can basically like speed blitz him before he does that, And regardless of whether if you think that's the case or not, it's just, I'm not going to say that's what you kind of have. Because, like, we've seen KCM Minato be relative with KCM2 Sagemo Naruto. You know what I mean? But, like, if you kind of compare their KCM2 forms to each other and think they're around remotely the same, and then, and things like that, then you can kind of go that route. Or if you think Minato's way superior, which would explain why he was relative with even Sage Mode, then basically, you can kind of go that route and be like, okay, maybe Minato wins before Madara even lands a Limbo. But it's really interesting to think about. But overall, I'm very intrigued to see what they have to say, but let's get into it.
One is the cutoff, and I think that's in terms of Madara versions, the one that's easier to determine as the weakest, at least that we've seen fighting, is probably going to be blind, no eyes Madara without Sage Mode, the one who was just revived in the war arc. I think that's the weakest version. What do you think?
If we're not counting the kids in the kids version, then or teenage Madara, then yeah, absolutely. He had feats and whatnot, but again, like you said, he's blind, and it's one of those things where you don't really know if he can really use his Susanoo, but even though he shouldn't, even though he does, but still, but anyway, he goes like he gets revived, and he's like, he blitz Naruto and Sasuke like right off the get go. So
yeah, he blitzes Sage Mode Naruto and Sai, and then he just gets Sage Mode from Hashirama. But I think it's safe to
be fair, Naruto did react though. He did block the attack, but Sai, he just got blitzed. But
assume that he can use his basic Susanoo.
But either way, it doesn't matter because like Sage Mode Naruto just got dealt with instantly. You know what I mean? He's just way stronger.
he used it against the tail beasts, but not the perfect Susanoo.
Right.
And when it comes to MS Madara or teenage Madara or even kid Madara, we don't even see him fighting at all, so that's why I don't feel like it's a very good point of comparison, but maybe we can speculate about him as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So, starting off with the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama, which is probably going to be the easiest one because we literally saw those characters fight quite many times in the series. So, what do you have to say about that one, Lightning Snow?
I think most opponents in the series, like people who go at each other often, like they're the ones that we've actually seen more. Like we've seen more fights with them, like on screen, than we've seen Naruto and Sasuke on screen. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like through the filler arcs and the actual like canon and whatnot. So
also OVAs and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I think we see more of their fights than we've actually seen Naruto and Sasuke fight. I think in terms of this one, I feel as though Hashirama would, I don't know. I want to say, because I mean Madara is, I don't want to sleep with Madara. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know. I'd almost say it to be a stalemate, but
Hold on. They're saying blind Madara just beats Hashirama? Bro, the man lost with both EMS. If he has no eyes, how the fuck does he beat Hashirama? Huh?
Mobile games are going big.
Like,
Play the
that don't make no sense.
What kind of version of Hashirama we're using, though? Like,
well, if we take a look at the Valley of the End fight, it's EMS Madara with the Nine Tails, and they pretty much tie. It's just in the very end that Hashirama clutches the victory.
Yeah.
That's also not true either. Hashirama, Sage Mode went full power because he was holding back the whole time, pulling a Naruto to Sasuke basically. And he's like, Madara, please, come on, enough's enough. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to fucking kill you. And then Madara's like, oh, you think you can kill me? He's like, no, that's not what I mean. You know, and then basically it goes from there. And then like he fucking just literally goes Sage Mode and one-shots the Majestic Susanoo, puts the Nine Tails to sleep, and then does his time skip, and it shows both of them huffing and puffing. They dash. Madara wins that final exchange, but then it was a wood clone, and then Hashirama kills him. Hashirama won the fight regardless, but either way, Hashirama beat Madara instantly with the Nine Tails in Susanoo. It was blatantly implied that Hashirama was the superior, and he was stronger. And throughout the entire narrative, Hashirama was just blatantly stated to be stronger than Madara. By Sage Mode Kabuto, you name it, etc. Even Madara himself, blah blah, and then the fact that it would take for Madara to have Hashirama's power in order to be superior, etc. Whatever, yada yada yada, right? And then we see like Hashirama come back as an Edo. He's fighting against Rinnegan Edo Madara, and he's an Edo, and they're literally equal to each other basically. Like he's in perfect Susanoo, whatever. Hashirama is, you know, in Sage Mode and shit, fighting whatnot. And that's all that's basically happening. Now, what's weird with Edo Hashirama is he only uses like a Sage Mode Wood Golem. He doesn't use like the fucking big ass 1,000-hand Buddha, you know, transformation. You know, so like Edo Hashirama is a little weird on that. I don't know why he did that. I don't know if it was either he just couldn't or if he didn't want to, I don't know, beat up Madara. I have no fucking idea. But bottom line is, with everything that we know, okay, like it should be pretty clear where Hashirama stands. At least in comparison to EMS Madara. Like, EMS Madara, he's just weaker than Hashirama. It's just that simple. Rinnegan Madara was the only one shown to be equal to Hashirama, basically. Even though Hashirama never does his final form either. So, I don't know. Maybe, since we don't get to see it any further, you could maybe just assume that if Madara goes perfect Susanoo, then, you know, then at that point, Hashirama would just go his final form and it would still be the same result. We don't know, whatever, but from what we do see, at least in the war arc, okay, they're equal to each other. While he has a Rinnegan and while Hashirama just stayed the same with Sage Mode, right? So that's kind of what you have. But that I don't know about that with them tying. Like, Hashirama won in the end, and he also basically low-diffed Madara with the Nine Tails. And the fact that Madara had to get the Nine Tails, to me, goes to further even show he would just get no diffed if he fought Hashirama without it, okay? And then Hashirama also beat him in the other Warring States where he had an MS, you know? So I don't know, bro. This is a little weird. And then when Madara fought him with an EMS after his brother died, Hashirama beat him again. So Hashirama's beating him 3 times MS, EMS, and then in the final valley with the Nine Tails with EMS. I don't know what more to tell you, you know? So that's bullshit.
And the thing is, Madara actually lost the Ninetales pretty early on in the fight, so they were actually fighting head-to-head, Madara with just his EMS against Hashirama's hacks and stuff. So Hashirama in that version is probably slightly stronger than Madara. And then when you go to the War Arc, we have an Edo Tensei Hashirama, which is implied to be slightly stronger than his alive version because he can actually use the deity gates that he uses to seal, not seal, but just impair the movements of the Ten Tails.
Yeah.
This man just said he's stronger than his alive? What the fuck? Oh my god. There's literally tons of evidence to the contrary, bro. What do you mean? Edo is not stronger than alive, bro. You're on crack for that. Like, that's an argument of ignorance as well. All because Hashirama alive is not shown to use the deity gates doesn't mean he can't do that alive. Or they're basically saying because Hashirama didn't use that alive, therefore Edo is stronger than alive. Huh? Okay.
And that Edo Hashirama stalemates Edo Madara with a Rinnegan. So I think it's safe to say that Hashirama is slightly stronger, those versions at least. But when you move on to revived Madara with one Rinnegan, then I think things really change because what can Hashirama do against a Limbo clone, really?
Yeah, well,
Sure.
and now I mean that, like, it's also like, I mean, well, you're talking about like Madara, who has, say, like the Rinnegan, the Limbo clone, and then
Yeah, if it's a live Madara Rinnegan and Limbo against Edo Hashirama, then I do agree Madara would win. That I do agree with.
if Madara so happened to, like, or so wanted to, like, he could just start using the Rinnegan abilities, and you know, he's got like almost infinite chakra, even if he's alive, and it is so crazy.
Yeah, he
like,
got Chibaku Tensei, he got Absorption, you name it, Shinra Tensei.
threat Madara Beach was just one Rinnegan, even if he isn't in Jubi state, and so I feel like you said, the scales tip a lot more in Madara's favor once he gets the Rinnegan.
Yeah, and after that, I believe it's pretty much it. There is nothing more Hashirama can do against stronger versions of Madara. Like, if you include the Ten Tails, Jinchuriki state, Hashirama literally states that he is weaker than Jubito, which is much weaker than Jubidara, so
Yep.
I don't think
facts.
there's any argument to have in that particular situation.
Nope, the god of Shinobi literally just gave his hats off. I'm like, yep, you're good. This man, I cannot beat this man.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Alright, let's move on to Tobirama, I guess, because Hashirama, as I said before, pretty straightforward. What do you think about Tobirama?
So if we're going off the weaker, like at the weakest version, Madara. I mean, we almost kind of saw that. It's one of the, again, if he gets Sage Mode, it's really tough because he just avoided a blitz from Tobirama like it was nothing, right? And like I said, this is a guy who just came back to life, and like we said earlier, just speed blitzed the two main characters. And
I wasn't avoiding therapy, but I just didn't think it was for me. The idea of therapy I grew up with was
like within no time at all, he literally had them both on death's door within a matter of an hour, not even less than 30 minutes. And so like this,
Yeah, probably less than that in universe, to be fair.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I was actually being more fair to Naruto and Sasuke, kind of giving them a little bit of slack. But yeah, like he just came back to life and like just no diffed him, and he literally just no diffed Tobirama at the exact same time.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, but to be fair, that version of him is actually one of the stronger versions when it comes to non-Ten Tails and Shuriki Madara. And yeah, that version completely obliterates Tobirama. We saw that on screen. He literally off-screened Tobirama. We didn't even see how the fight ends up because it's just such a big stomp.
honestly,
What do you think would be a more appropriate version for Madara to fight against Tobirama? I think MS Madara, like without his EMS, or maybe even EMS Madara without the Nine Tails, would probably be more fair.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, I think MS would probably be more likely because if we're counting EMS as being able to use,
So, MS. Now, this is the problem, though. If we're talking about Edo Tobirama, at least to my knowledge, Madara doesn't have any sealing jutsu. You know what I mean? So he can't really beat Tobirama. You know what I mean? Like in like a death win con, he would have to basically like genjutsu him. You know, and he could just do that. But the problem with genjutsu, though, is like Infinite Tsukiyomi, which is a 6-path Rinne Sharingan genjutsu, doesn't even affect Edo Tensei. So it's like genjutsu just doesn't work on Edo Tensei, but then Shishiri's Kodo Matsukami could work on Edo Tensei. So it just gets to the point where it's like, I don't know, but if you think Madara's genjutsu can work on Tobirama as an Edo, then he loses no matter what, because he's just going to be in a fucking genjutsu, right? Doesn't matter, then Madara just walks away. If not, then Madara just gets outlasted and dies to Edo Tobirama. Madara used the perfect Susanoo to throw him into space. Yeah, right? Imagine. Just grabs him and just throws him into fucking space, That is a win con, technically, but to be fair, Tobirama could just fly and Raijin back, but either way, so like Edo, whatever, I don't really care that much. It's always weird to put Edos against alive people, especially when they don't have fucking ceiling, It's kind of like, what the fuck, like, what's the point? But if we're talking alive Tobirama, which would be stronger than Edo, okay, MS Madara would still slam fucking Tobirama. And the reason why is we literally see basically Tobirama against Madara's brother, who's equal to him. It's just blatantly emphasized in narrative who Tobirama is able to fuck with, while Hashirama and Madara are just in a class above, and only they can fight each other. So it's like, if we take that Tobirama, obviously, come on, it's already shown. And then when we see Hashirama, like, back as an Edo, he completely just bitches Tobirama and like puts him in his place, and flexes his power, and it's like, lower your fucking finger, and then Tobirama has no choice, and he's like all humiliated and ashamed, and like he's like, all right, brother, blah blah blah. So, at the end of the day, like when it really just comes down to it, Tobirama, there's just no way he's beating Madara. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not, like, I don't see that at all. And that's just kind of what you have. Like, Madara is just Madara. Like, he's very, very strong. Now, unless you think, like, Tobirama is, like, above MS Madara, and, and he's, like, only beneath EMS Madara and, and Hashirama. Overall, like, I just think, Tobirama is just lower than Madara and Hashirama to begin with. That's just me personally. But it's at least understandable if you think Tobirama could be able to beat at least MS Madara. Like, it is what it is at the end of the day. I don't know what to fucking tell you, but yeah, that shit was funny. Whenever it comes to politics or like, or fucking subjective value, he's a dickhead.
Susanoo, then I don't really I can't really see Tobirama maybe. Like, I think I may have done a video on this a long time ago where I said the only way that like Tobirama could get the win against EMS Madara if he decided to throw up his perfect Susanoo would be that if Tobirama was able to mark Madara at any time before then, and that way once he throws up the Susanoo, he could like teleport in that little
inside the Susanoo. That's an interesting theory to think about. Even though Madara was able to dodge a flying Raijin cut from Tobirama in the war, and that Madara had Sage Mode.
Yeah.
So there's that. But even still, I think it's a very tough fight for
That's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like that was the only thing I could have gave him against EMS. Like, MS, like you said, I think is like the more appropriate scaling for Tobirama.
Yeah.
The one that I feel like he does the best against.
The problem is that we just don't know, like, his powers. We don't even know his main Mangekyo Sharingan abilities, that we've never really seen them in the story, which is a shame. But even still.
There's that OVA in the game where, like, someone tried to make a point where it's like his, like, he can rewind like 3 seconds or something like that. I'm like, bro, imagine if that really was his ability.
Yeah, there's just no way this is his ability, because otherwise, first of all, he wouldn't be killed or backstabbed by Setsu. And this is way too OP. To be
I'm gonna say that'd be like Obito's Kamui. That'd just be so broken. It'd be ridiculous.
I think it would be more broken than that. Like, what can you do against it? As long as he has chakra, you can't really do anything.
Exactly. It's unstoppable.
So that's an argument of ignorance, and no, that doesn't really work like that. Madara could have a time reversal technique with his MS, but it's just the way it is fucking like Madara, like basically, like he could use it whatever, but at the end of the day, if it's not really gonna get anywhere, then it's kind of just counterintuitive. You know what I mean? Like that's all I'm saying. And that's what you have. And then to be fair, with the fucking when Madara has the Rinnegan, like, he has to probably go back to the MS and then utilize the ability. I'm just saying, and then he can, go from there. But I don't like. The problem is we just don't really know anything about Madara. That's the issue. Like, for all we know, he does have that ability, but maybe there's just certain rules or certain things to where he has to use it under XYZ variables, right? And then it could be used or something. We don't know, But I see nothing wrong with him having that MS ability. I just think, there's just certain requirements, like similar like to how Kodo is, where it's very, very, strict upon certain variables. I don't know, but Zetsu was messing with Madara's chakra there. And that too, yeah, Zetsu was also like he was at his mercy. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't do a limbo. He couldn't do nothing, So yeah, I don't know about all that, and then, literally any other time Madara was fighting people, he just never had a reason to use the ability. He never had a reason to. You know what I mean? He has a fucking Rinnegan. Why would he need to do that? It's not even, so it's like, I don't know about all that one. They would never be able to substantiate that that's not the case. And when it comes to the games, like, I don't know about, like, whatever game that even had that fight to begin with. I can't, say otherwise for that, but there is 2 Naruto games that are just blatantly canon due to statements, etc., you name it, and Kishimoto's heavy involvement. And if you wanted to argue other games as for the canonicity, you could just basically go along the lines, of like legal reasoning, Kishimoto creating Naruto, you name it, Kishimoto's interview statement of where he deems the Naruto games to be the best illustration of the story of Naruto in comparison to the manga and the anime, yada, yada, yada. You can kind of just go along that route, whatever, but personally, I don't really see anything wrong with the games. The games is more of just giving us stuff that we just didn't have in the manga and the anime, and I don't see anything wrong with it. If it doesn't contradict what's in the manga, I don't see a problem. Or the anime,
Well, okay, depending on who the user is, and we're talking about Madara here, yeah, he's nigh on stop, that kind of.
Unless you come up with a lot of limitations for it, which, we don't see very much of that ability in the OVA, so we just can't know for certain.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tobirama has a really tough time against Madara, any version of him. I think we could maybe say he has a tough match against Blind Madara without Sage Mode, but even still, like, he was able to sense Naruto and Sai, and he blitzed them pretty handily.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he would be able to combat Tobirama in that state. And even if Tobirama hits Madara with a kunai slash or something like that, Madara still has Hashirama cells to regenerate him.
Yeah.
So it's a tough problem for him.
It is. And like the best case we could have given is like maybe a live MS Madara in the Warring States.
Like freshly awakened.
Yeah, because him and Izuna are comparable, I guess. They're said to be on the same level or like around the same level.
Yep.
And Tobirama was able to outsmart and blitz Izuna, and so if we give Tobirama that slack, then yeah, I think totally possible. Like he could get the kill against that Madara. But if we're talking like Fourth War, any Fourth War Madara, then yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah,
for Tobirama.
It's gonna be very tough. Well, let's move on to Hiruzen Sarutobi, I suppose, the 3rd Hokage. And I don't think we have to delay ourselves too much in this particular situation here. I don't think Hiruzen has much of a chance against any version of Madara.
Gets slammed. Yeah, he gets slammed.
Well,
What do you
unfortunately,
think about it?
I'm assuming we're going to go with old here. Can't.
Even if we consider a hypothetical prime Hiruzen, I don't really see much that he could do against Madara, to be fair. Like, is he gonna use 5 elemental transformations against Madara? Well, I think a Susanoo is more than enough to tank anything he throws against Madara, to be fair.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I just feel like I always want to say that like Prime here does a pretty good job against most opponents that are excluding the 6-path arena.
The god tier opponents.
Yeah, like
I guess if you highball him and if you say he could create a comparable amount of shadow clones to Naruto, maybe. But even still, we don't know exactly how powerful he was in Madara. We know pretty much what he could do, at least in the EMS state.
I want to say that he probably performed better than Tobirama, but then I don't. It's one of the things like Tobirama's.
He has hacks.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Hiruzen doesn't really have hacks.
Yeah, not that we know of anyway. As I said, maybe in his prime he has a lot more chakra than we're aware of, but we just can't say for certain.
Yeah, he definitely had more chakra than.
Yeah, the only thing that Hiruzen has better than Tobirama is his body speed. He's just way more faster than Tobirama. Like, Tobirama couldn't save Naruto and, not with his body speed and then try to use ninjutsu. Failed. Hiruzen comes out of nowhere and just straight up body speed and everything, combat, you name it, and just fucking that shit up with his staff and then saves Naruto, And Tobirama just flat out says, what's it called? I can't save or do anything because I can't use Flying Horizon, basically. You know what I mean? So it's like he couldn't just throw a kunai to save Naruto. He couldn't use his speed, which is using his 6-path speed to cut up everything. Ninjutsu wasn't fast enough. Tobirama just slow as fuck. Well, Hiruzen could. So Hiruzen is faster than Tobirama, like when it comes to combat speed, you name it, etc. But then again, it's just unfortunately, Hiruzen's the guy where he's struggling with the full Nine Tails. Okay, it's enough said. All right, he can't even deal with the Nine Tails. All right, so he gets fucking wrecked. Kakasu solos are all durability facts.
Old, but still, I don't even think he would be able to Reaper Death Seal Madara, even if he managed to catch Madara.
Yeah, like the only win con Hiruzen has is Reaper Death Seal, but that's not happening with any version of Hiruzen. The only one you could argue hypothetically is like Prime Hiruzen if you think he's stronger than Hashirama, you know?
Would be able to resist.
But then again, that just goes to a stalemate, really. Like they both lose.
Like Orochimaru
it's not really a win.
Orochimaru is far weaker than Madara,
Yeah.
and yes, Hiruzen couldn't take his soul away because he was old, but the difference between Madara and Orochimaru makes up for Hiruzen's age difference, I would
was just
say.
gonna say that too, because it's like, yeah, and the thing is like if we're taking the translation in the manga or in the anime, grew up watching the anime first, so how I interpreted it was Orochimaru said you might have succeeded if you were 10 years younger, implying that even if he was 10 years younger, there's no guarantee he would have done it. So yeah, saying that he'd be able to Reaper Death Seal Madara, even in his prime, it's arguable, and I would be more on the side of he probably wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, Madara probably doesn't lose to any particular version.
He'd probably
of
just look at Hiruzen and be like, bro, what are you doing?
I mean, maybe if we highball Hiruzen saying he can create 1,000 shadow clones using Genma and a lot of different jutsus, because technically he knows every single jutsu in the Leaf Village according to statements. But
that's why I was saying, like, I always want to try to highball Hiruzen because of or prime Hiruzen at least. Like, obviously if this is old Hiruzen, he's getting curb stomped like it's nothing. But like,
yeah.
But I always want to give it to Prime Hiruzen a lot more credit than I feel like most people do, because you do have people in the comments, and no disrespect to anybody, but I do often get those comments whenever I try to bring up a hypothetical Hiruzen, like, bro, you can't talk about Prime Hiruzen because you don't know. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I mean, I try.
It's fun to speculate at least.
Yeah,
you know?
like I always want to try to give up to Hiruzen, you know what I'm saying? But
like there has to be a reason why Tobirama looked at Hiruzen when he was like what 18 or 20 when Tobirama was about to fight against the Ginkaku squad and die, and he said, "You're gonna be the next Hokage, even though you are really young."
Yeah.
He had to be pretty powerful because the Kage that were around in that particular time, they were strong. Mu, you have Gengetsu for Mizukage, like they were pretty crazy.
Well, not even that. If you take it a step further, like in part 1, when when Hiruzen's fighting Orochimaru, he had that flashback to Hashirama and Tobirama when he was like a little kid. And I never really understood like this scene. I know this is getting off topic, but I never really understood this scene about like them talking to Hiruzen, like, you know, like as a kid, they're both saying like, starting tomorrow, you are Hokage. I'm like, the man's 8 years old. What are you talking about? Like,
Maybe he was delusional. He was pretty old at that time, so who knows?
But yeah, so I mean, for them to look at Hiruzen even at that age and be like, bro, this kid's got potential. You know, I think it's saying something. But at the end of the day, I think Madara is way too tough. I think the only version of Madara that we could pit Hiruzen up against is, like we said with Tobirama, probably just a live, fresh MS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a hypothetical battle. I think so.
I don't think anybody's going to be mad at this particular scenario here, where we say Hiruzen doesn't have much of a chance. But now, moving on to Minato, the 4th Hokage, I think things get a little bit more interesting because I think we can just use Minato's strongest version here to begin with, at least, which is going to be Edo Tensei with the 9 tails or half of it inside of him. He has access to the Kurama avatar, even though he has much less proficiency than Naruto.
Once again, Edo Tensei is annoying as fuck. Like, just don't do it. Just give him Casey him alive. Because it's not fair for Madara. He doesn't have any ceiling. Like,
Naruto does. It's still a pretty decent buff to him.
Oh, for sure.
And I think we could even
like Minato can low-key do Reaper Death Seal. And like, well, no, that would affect Edo too. Never mind, I'm stupid. But it's just not fair. Like, Edo is just not fair, bro.
EMS Madara against this Minato could be an interesting fight, or even Edo Madara. What do you think?
I think Edo Madara at first because, I mean, it's Edo versus Edo. I think it's a little bit, because we got to think that'd be all kinds of crazy. I mean, they would just be relentless because at this point, Madara doesn't really have anything that would really be able to nullify Edo Tensei.
I guess we can assume he'll have a ceiling jutsu, and if not...
Well, I forgot. If we're talking Rinnegan Edo or even alive, he can steal souls, and that can deal with the Edo Tensei, because all the Edo Tensei is channeling a soul from the heavens, basically, and putting it into someone's body, right? So if he utilizes his Rinnegan, he could take the soul and that deals with it. You either have to seal it or deal with the soul, okay? Or the Edo has to fight internally and like their soul like gets fucked up in a way and then they can break it, right? Those are the only ways it's been shown for Edo Tensei to be dealt with accordingly. Or you gotta be a Madara and fucking say fuck the plot and also do like seals and shit, and you can also like disobey the user, but that's not really dealing with Edo Tensei. That's just allowing you to do whatever the fuck you want. But either way, Madara's Winnicon is basically a soul grab. Minato is sealing or Reaper Death, which is also soul grab. But then it's just a stalemate, though, you know?
Not he can extract Minato's soul with his Rinnegan, so he
true.
would have
Facts.
a way, I would say. And I think it's also fair to say that Minato would also have a sealing jutsu that would be able to just counter the Edo Tensei immortality, because he trained with Kushina and Uzumaki for a while. So I guess we can run with that assumption.
Yeah.
Still, it's an interesting fight because Minato is definitely faster than Madara in this particular scenario here with Caesium too, especially.
Yeah.
But Madara, I don't see him getting blitzed by him. I think he can definitely react to what Minato will do. Because, I mean, Jubito was reacting to him, and then after a couple of chapters, we see Tobirama blitzing him from behind when Naruto landed on Sengan, and then a live Madara with a Rinnegan was able to react to that Tobirama. So I think it's pretty safe to say that around the same ballpark. Maybe not in terms of speed, but in terms of reaction time.
Oh, for sure. And because going off of what I was saying earlier about, because like you mentioned the soul stealing, I want to say that Madara might be able to pull that off, but I feel like, you know, if there's been like there's been so many cases where Minato's like slipped away from stuff like that. Like case in point when
it would be difficult. No doubt about it.
But Obito was like inches away from him, trying to like suck him into combo, and he got away like it was nothing. And so I think if
Mobile games are going big. Clash of Clans.
and it's so weird because we have to cover this because it's like one of the few ways that an Edo Tensei fight would conclude is either sealing them away with the sealing ninjutsu or stealing their soul. And like when it comes to stealing their soul, or Minato's like specifically, I don't think it's gonna work. Conversely, I don't see Minato being able to really steal Madara's soul with the Reaper Death Seal. Like I think.
Oh no, that's even more difficult. I would say it requires more prep time. It's tougher to do than just the Rinnegan human path.
Yeah.
And even still, like the problem I see with Minato here is that his damage is not exactly the greatest when it comes to just like trying to destroy Madara's Edo Tensei, because the primary strategy would probably be to completely obliterate the Edo Tensei, and as the Edo Tensei is reforming, you probably want to seal it before you can just regain your consciousness or whatever. And Minato has the Rasengan. He never uses the Bijudama in his KCM state, and he has a pretty large Rasengan with the Avatar when he combines it with Naruto, but like a perfect Susanoo is not even going to be cracked by that, I get the feeling.
Yeah, and this is weird because when the Minato one-shot manga came out, it kind of perpetuated Minato into a different kind of scale. If they take that seriously, and I'm kind of indecisive about how I take that one-shot manga, because it seems like it's something that shouldn't be possible, but I mean, I guess it is written in canon, so it's like...
You are most likely talking about the Rasengan versus Bijudama feat. But you have to take that with a grain of salt, because it didn't happen in the real world. It happened inside of Kushina's Kurama realm.
Yeah.
Which I have to assume different rules apply there. It's literally inside Kushina's body. Minato had her help, so I wouldn't say a base Rasengan from Kid Minato would be more powerful than a Bijudama in normal circumstances. But still, it's very impressive.
I know it is. I just like that's why I'm always indecisive about, because I just don't know.
Well, that art is beautiful, though. I'm not gonna lie. Whoever edited this shit, it is gorgeous.
One of those things I don't know how to compare, that realm with the real world when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I do think that Minato puts up a decent fight in terms of prolonging the fight, but how slippery he is and how meticulous he can be. At the end of the day, though, I think with as far as Edo versus Edo, like Madara is just gonna have so many things up his sleeve. Like Minato doesn't.
He can create a lot of wood clones, create Susanos with them, and he has a lot of variety.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, if it comes to Edo versus Edo, then like
so I'll say this: it's either you think Minato is relative to Madara, but he's not actually faster, and basically Madara can deal with anything he does. Soul Grabs wins, or you'd think base Minato is faster than Madara, and not to like a speed blitzing tier, but at least slightly faster to where he basically would pull what he did to Obito, and then he would win because of that. And basically you would have to substantiate that along with Minato racing to the battlefield and beating all of the Hokage, including Hashirama. You would also have to include the moment where Tobirama, Seijuman, Hashirama, all these motherfuckers are rushing to Obito to stop him from reviving Madara, and Minato is able to get there with Flying Raijin. You have like stuff like that, but overall, when it comes down to it, that's basically like, all I can really say with it. At the end of the day, if you go along that route, you can then therefore like Minato is faster and he'll win due to having the speed advantage, and whether it's using sealing as hacks to deal with him or hitting him with a rising on and then sealing him, right? And that's kind of what you work with. Now, if it's KCM Minato, I think personally, at that point for Madara, it's like it's not really fair because it's like he just gets way, way more faster than what he is in base. And he's over here being relative with KCM to Seijuman Naruto. And they're fighting against Jubito. Now, I'm not going to say they scaled to Jubito. Jubito was still stronger. But it's the fact that, like they're able to at least remotely try to attempt to do something to Jubito, while every other character is just getting bitched or can't do anything at all, or Hashirama just blatantly stating to be inferior. So, like, it kind of goes along the line of scaling to where, like, Minato with KCM, he's getting really fucking strong at that point. And then on top of it, if Minato wanted to, especially if he like stacks Sage Mode on top of it, which he theoretically could do because it's easier and faster to gather nature energy when using the KCM2 cloak, then now he has like infinite fucking Sage Mode along with that as an amp, and it's just, it's way more easier and beneficial to argue for Minato. I'll say that with KCM2. That's all I'll basically say. And I could definitely see how he could be able to now replicate a win con. Like, we see KCM2 Naruto speed blitz, Sagemon Alive Madara. You know what I mean? He just straight up speed blitz and hit his Susanoo avatar and just slammed him into the ground. You know what I mean? So it's like, if Naruto could be able to do shit like that, I don't see why fucking, that's not going to be able to happen to Edo Madara or happen to EMS Madara or especially MS Madara, or even if it is alive Madara, the same version that was fighting against all the tail beast and, and whatnot. Like, if Naruto can speed blitz him, I'm just saying, bro, so... But that's all I'll basically say. Overall, we just won't ever really know, unfortunately. Minato is a very interesting character. And I'm not just going to sit here and say he blatantly, no matter what, definitely does pull a W against Madara. But, you could definitely advocate for him. And mainly due to the Minato one-shot as for the feats he has as a fucking teen. And most importantly, it's just him always being to have feats to be on the same level as Hashirama and Madara. You know what I mean? Like, he was even interacting with the full power Ninetales during the Ninetales incident as the fourth Hokage. And the only people that are ever shown to do that is Madara and Hashirama. So Minato has plenty enough to conclude he is within that ballpark of power, but it just goes into question whether if you think he would be able to win, and that's where it's really interesting, So that's all I'll say, but it's one of those three ways. It's either KCM2 absolutely destroys, and wins like low diff, right? You know what I mean? I won't say like just, you could argue speed blitz, but let's just say it's low diff, right? If it was actually a fight. And then base Minato would win high diff, and then, that's just kind of what you got, right? Or Madara just wins because Minato's only relative, So that's all I'll say. I think those are the three best ways it would go for Minato.
Gonna be, I guess, a stalemate because, if we highball Minato a little bit, we can say that Madara, he's so slippery that Madara wouldn't be able to get the kill, but conversely, Minato couldn't damage Madara either, so he doesn't get the win. So I mean,
You can't forget that Edo Madara can absorb ninjutsu too, so like what's Minato gonna do? I think Madara has the edge here, but I can definitely see a scenario that the fight just lasts forever, which would be fair to see. But even if that happens, like if the fight lasts for days and days, I think Madara still has the edge because he has more variety and he could eventually come up with something that would catch Minato.
Now, what about alive Madara versus alive Minato? Like, what are you thinking?
With or without the Nine Tails, I guess it doesn't really matter all that much because Minato can mostly just fly away from the Nine Tails' attacks. Also,
Or just teleport away.
Susanoo, when you're talking about this fights, when Minato doesn't have a Kurama avatar to like fight it head on, he wouldn't try to challenge the perfect Susanoo.
I would have to give my boy major props if he did. I mean, like,
yeah.
So I mean, what about MS Madara? I mean, just MS without the Nine Tails?
think no, MS Madara without the Nine Tails, I think Minato takes it. If even if he has a hard time damaging Madara, he can still probably run him out of chakra just by escaping his attacks because MS is gonna feel pain when he uses his MS abilities. It's a different
It's like
fight
Sasuke.
completely.
True.
Our mission in Coding Dojo is about redefining what's possible in our students' lives. If you are interested in getting into tech, we are 100%.
So basically what Dygoknight thinks is Edo to Edo, it'd either be like a stalemate, or Madara wins, and then alive to alive, I think they said Madara takes it, but Minato could, it's whatever. And then they said like if it's MS against Minato, MS loses no matter what. So, alright, that's fine. I don't see, that's whatever.
Minato, Hokage Minato in his prime can take
For any Minato haters or aka, Noodles or Loco, whatever, blah, blah. They ain't gonna be happy with that, but hey.
Hypothetical MS Madara, but other than that, even like blind Madara, I think it would be difficult for him because he has Hashirama cells, and his most powerful jutsu is a Rasengan, which didn't do much against Obito when he landed one. I mean, it cut one arm off, but Obito was kind of fine after that.
Yeah, I mean, Obito did retreat, and it's one of those things where it's like, I mean,
He won the fight. Minato definitely won the fight.
Yeah, but I was say he would not have been able to win. Like Obito would not have won that fight if he continued. But like you said,
To be fair, like you could still say like it doesn't matter because that was just a normal size Rasengan, not a massive. You know what I mean? Or even with Sage Mode, or even KCM 2. On top of it. But then again, Obito, you could also argue in favor for him to be within the Hashirama and Madara ballpark in a sense. Not like I wouldn't say like over in power or even equal, but you can argue like at least relativity in power. Whatever. Because, based upon the one-shot, manga statements, you name it, etc., and everything else with Minato, and then you basically correlate that to Obito, then there you go, right? But, that's just kind of what it is. It is what it is. But, no matter what, like, for Obito, if anything, like, it's just very impressive because Obito, he straight up has a durability feat for it, or at least a survivability feat. Let's be real, if Madara and Hashirama get hit by that, they're probably more than likely fucked. Like, 9 out of 10 times, they're always protecting themselves from, like, with their wood style or Susanoo, whatever. To be fair, Edo Madara does have an impressive durability feat to where he's able to tank a massive Sage Art Rising Shuriken from Naruto. But, either way, it is really interesting. Regardless whether if you think it kills Madara or just injures him or does nothing, I don't care. But yeah, this is that. So I think it's irrelevant because the main thing you would advocate for is hacks anyways. There's a statement in the data book that says Obito is equal to Edo Madara's power. Yeah. Rinnegan Obito, yeah. They're talking about Yellow Mask Obito, though.
Yeah.
Obito wasn't, like, worried, I guess, in a way. He wasn't like, oh, crap, my arm. Like, he was just like, all right, well, I'm peacing out. So, I mean,
and then
go ahead.
Madara can regenerate from attacks with the Hashirama cells. It would be kind of difficult for Minato to probably do anything against him, but maybe. I mean, Minato's pretty fast. If he is able to catch him off guard or even blitz him from all sides because he doesn't have eyes, even though he can sense things really well, Madara could probably lose in a hypothetical fight here, but I still think it's tough for Minato.
I think more often than not, like, Madara probably would be able to react to most of Minato's attacks. Again, I know Tobirama blatantly said that Minato's better than him at Flying Raijin, but I don't think they're too far in between each other. If I had to be, in my personal opinion, I think they're relative still in speed with Minato obviously having the edge.
That's fair, and that's fair. If you at least extrapolate the Flying Raijin feats between Tobirama and Minato, it basically looks practically the same, or at least blatant relativity, right? You know what I mean? Even though the data books and everything all say Minato's way better, they perfected it and enhanced it, right? You know, so Minato would be still faster with Flying Raijin as well. But, you know, you could at least argue relativity for Tobirama, and that's perfectly reasonable. So,
like at a certain point, Madara just being used to, if Madara is, not killed at this point, assuming Madara being used to Minato's combat and learning how Minato kind of fights while the fight's going on, and then eventually just kind of like one-upping Minato in the fight.
And Madara will know what the Flying Raijin is about. I mean, he's been fighting against Tobirama for a while.
Yeah.
He knows the Flying Raijin. Yes, Minato is better than Tobirama at it, but it's the same principle. You teleport to where your mark is.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so Madara is going to be pretty aware of how he fights, I feel like. So
yeah, it would be difficult for Minato. I'll give the edge to Madara here in this hypothetical fight against
still a good fight,
an
though.
eyeless Madara. Yeah, it'd be a good fight.
Yeah.
He has the Susanoo too, which doesn't help Minato's case.
No, it does not. But I think, in fairness to Minato, I think he'd be able to, like, if Madara just chose to use the ribcage, I would want to say that Minato could probably break through that one. But when it comes to, like, maybe his, humanoid Susanoo,
I'm not even sure if he breaks through the ribcage, because Madara's ribcage was tanking a Rasengan from Sage Mode Naruto, and it was a much larger Rasengan than anything Minato has ever produced.
Yeah.
Except for his Kurama Avatar Rasengan.
Yeah. Maybe a slight boost for if Minato had Sage Mode. Maybe it's possible, but I don't know. I know Minato's not that great at using Sage Mode, but I mean.
Yeah.
I always try to give my boy something.
Yeah, but yeah, Madara overall has a big advantage here, but I think the most interesting fight is definitely going to be Minato versus Edo Madara, which would be just very cool to see.
Yeah.
But I'll still see Madara.
So that I'll disagree with. Like, if you argue along the lines and scaling of Minato having power that's basically relative or equal to Hashirama when it comes to sealing and also ninjutsu power, like especially from the one-shot Minato, then he could definitely probably be able to go through that. Like, it would take for Madara to have like a perfect Susanoo. You know what I mean? But then again, to be fair, like Madara's like Susanoo's no joke. Like, he was able to use his Susanoo to protect himself from the Ten Tails like collateralism or whatever. Like some like one of the attacks from the Ten Tails, from Sage Mode Arts' massive Rasengan. So just saying, But I see where they're coming from. Either or, it's fine. I don't really care. But if you substantiate it with the reasoning and scaling in a certain way for Minato, you could definitely argue for him to at least be able to get through all the other Susanoo forms except for perfect Susanoo.
Most often.
Oh, for
and
sure, yeah.
other versions, I mean, Limbo clone Madara with one Rinnegan, and obviously the Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki Madara versions, there's nothing Minato can do about them.
No, I think people underestimate Minato's intelligence.
And then to be fair as well, like, even though I know Madara is holding back whatever, etc., but like, you could technically also say if Raikage and Tsunade are able to break through his Susanoo forms, then objectively, for at least what we see, right, then you could be like, oh, Minato should definitely be able to get through with a Rising On and shit, right? So I'm just saying.
It'd be one of those things where I feel like it'd be kind of cool to see how Minato reacts to stuff like that and try to think of ways like how. Obviously, I don't think he'd be able to do much, but I still think that like it'd be cool to see that how Minato does as far as like figuring stuff out.
Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much
It for
Minato versus
Minato.
Madara. Moving on to Tsunade versus Madara. I mean, we kind of saw that. Edo Madara versus the 5 Kage, and Tsunade was included there. Madara was toying with them the entire way. Tsunade was important for the fight because she was keeping the 5 Kage fresh and healing them up, but like, I mean, what can she do?
I mean,
Even if we pick MS Madara back in the day, I don't think there's anything Tsunade can do against him.
No, I mean, because I will say on Tsunade's end, she did, she was able to make Madara retract his statement.
Are you still only getting a job on your birthday? Then you need the new and improved fleshy.
Earlier on in their fight, where Madara was kind of roasting Tsunade, calling her a weak woman, and then later on, like a few minutes later, he's like, "Okay, you're definitely not a weak woman. You got something packing." But so that I think that's something in itself. But like you said, I think even MS Madara kind of gives her a really difficult time. Now, I will say, without the Ninetales MS Madara, I do feel like she does put up a better fight than most other versions. But I still do see her going down.
Yeah, the problem is that Tsunade, she's going to struggle. Like, just hitting Madara will be a problem because he has the Sharingan, he has precog. Like, she can break the Susanoo if she lands a hit, but that's not going to be enough. And it would be just smarter for Madara to avoid the blows altogether than anything else.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, if she uses 100 healings, I wonder, like, if she'd be able to outlast Madara in terms of him using his MS. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if we're just talking about MS Madara and him being in pain as he's using his abilities, if she's able to survive long enough, then
maybe,
but
maybe that's her best chance. But I still don't think it's something she can rely on. And like, if Madara is smart about it, he can just cut her head off.
That is true.
You can cut her head off.
Faster than Tsunade to do that.
You can do that. You can Genjutsu. You know.
I mean, he did cut her in half, and that was she was alive, but she was pretty much KO'd. So it's
If Madara had actually bothered to check his skills, to double tap the 5 Kage, there's nothing they could have done.
Nope, nothing they could have done. Honest to God, I'm surprised. It was just like him toying with them, like pity sparing them, honestly, that he let them live.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else to say about Tsunade.
No, we can just wrap up that one.
Moving on to Hokage Kakashi, the 6th Hokage, and I'll leave that one to you because that definitely that's your speciality.
Now, I actually got someone giving me flack about this, believe it or not, a few days, and they were kind of getting on to me because I still feel like, in my personal opinion, that Hashirama is still stronger than Kakashi as Hokage.
Oh, wow.
And they were getting on to me about how they're like, that's just not true. They honestly feel like, and look, I'm the biggest Kakashi stan out there, especially like Hokage.
Yeah, I was expecting him to say otherwise.
Is literally Hokage Kakashi. So I don't know how much more of a stan I can get, but when it comes to like people like that, I don't know if Kakashi really has the means to deal. Like, okay, so
this is very simple. There's 2 ways you can do this. Either Hokage Kakashi power cliffs and just utterly slams, or if you think he's weaker without his MS basically now, right? And yada yada, then he gets slammed, right? That's it. So what's it called? But that's all it really boils down to. You know what I mean? I'm just being blatantly honest with you. Personally, I think there's much to the contrary, especially if you take the statements or the novels as well. And if you even take the anime canon for Boruto, like Kakashi's over here fighting against Koji Kashin, whatever, and whatnot, which is, and that's Boruto scaling, remind you, which eventually correlates to Jigen. So, like, I feel like we're talking about, like, scaling that's way further beyond certain versions of Madara. And it's like, what are we doing at that point? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm just saying, so that's all I'll say on that. But, if I had to say who more than likely takes it every time, I would say Kakashi. But if you think Kakashi is not that strong, and you think he's now weaker than what he was in the War Arc, and just slightly stronger in the War Arc, then he should lose, right? So,
if I had to really be honest, I feel like the versions of Madara that Kakashi does pretty good against is MS and then maybe EMS.
Without the Nine Tails?
Without the Nine Tails. I mean, with Edo and Alive, Blind, Renegon, or like whatever.
Nothing much you can do about it. Because like, he doesn't have hacks anymore when he's the Hokage. That's the problem. Like he has raw damage.
Yeah.
But Madara can deal with that very well. I mean, if you're taking the Edo Tensei version, there's nothing much Kakashi can do. He can just absorb stuff with his Renegon.
Now,
that's
here's the thing: is like
big problem for him.
Someone was making the case to me because like Kakashi was able to flood almost an entire country with his performance of fire style water mist jutsu and whatnot, and like I understand that, but when it comes to versions of Madara that have the perfect Susanoo, like what is Kakashi going to be able to do? Like, I mean, he's got a jutsu, he's got purple lightning that could like be used similar to how Kirin was used and the attack power it can be used as, but I don't know if like it would necessarily be able to penetrate a perfect Susanoo. Like that's saying a lot. So, because Onoki like took one look at that attack and crapped his pants. So I'm not.
I mean, to be fair, he looked at Madara several times and crapped his pants as well.
Exactly. Well, that's my point. Is like that's my point. I feel like this is coming from a man who like has seen Madara fight in action, and so I feel as though that if Hokage Kakashi can make Onoki crap his pants from a jutsu like that, then I feel like it's saying something. So I'm not knocking Kakashi's feats. I'm really not. But it comes to Madara though. Like I said, MS and then EMS, I feel like are the only versions I feel Hokage Kakashi does pretty well against.
Do you think he beats them more often than not?
MS, yes.
Are you ready?
EMS.
I think I agree with you. Yeah.
EMS, I think it's arguable. Once he gets the perfect Susanoo, though, then I don't know. I really can't give him anything else.
I think it's fair. I think EMS Madara definitely has a big edge, but I think Kakashi would do well against a hypothetical MS Madara. And other than that, most of his versions have ways to deal with ninjutsu completely negating it, so it gets kind of tough for Kakashi here when he doesn't have Kamui anymore.
I mean, honestly, well, not even that. Like, what's he gonna do against the Limbo clones and then the Susanoo? It's really tough.
I mean, yeah.
Like,
when you
talk
about that, yeah, there's nothing much he can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the fights against MS and EMS Madara could be very interesting to see. But other than that, it gets tough for our boy Kakashi.
Like, y'all don't get me.
At least the
comments.
Hokage version.
I was like, don't get me in the comments, y'all. Like, I'm the biggest Kakashi stan out there. Like, I will support my boy till the day I die. But the thing is like, I don't know. I think it's generous that I'm saying that he does pretty well against MS. And because I will say that MS Madara is impressive, but he like compared to his other forms, he's not that impressive. Like, and yeah, I think he does I think he does pretty well against EMS Madara, but like I said, Renegon and Sage Mode Madara. Yeah, I don't. There's just too much that Madara has. I mean, if he was able to straight up blitz, again, Naruto, who had KCM2, and Sasuke, who already had EMS on itself, like, he literally no-diffed the two main characters and the second Hokage. and the second Hokage, and the first Hokage.
And all tail beasts.
Yeah, I'm like, all within the span of, like, less than 10 minutes. So I'm like, I don't see what Kakashi's really going to be able to do about something like that. So if you really want to compare Hokage Kakashi to all the 9-tailed beasts at the same time, I don't know. I don't know what to say. So
it gets a little tough.
Yeah.
I think we can move on to our main character, Naruto Uzumaki. I have I guess you could say a controversial opinion about Hokage Naruto, because I don't like to take statements that are made, at face value, because sure, Naruto's supposed to be the strongest Hokage ever, the strongest ninja ever, but when I read the Boruto manga or when I watch the Boruto anime, he looks very pathetic.
He really does. I talked to somebody about this the other day too. I feel as though
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like that's just Dygoknight's biased, or he just personally just doesn't like Boruto and dislikes Naruto Shippuden and Naruto more. There is an abundance of empirical evidence and an abundance of objective and subjective evidence of Naruto completely power cliffing Madara. I don't want to fucking hear it. Like, this is absolutely outrageous if we're even going to go this route.
Hokage Naruto should be a lot more powerful than he is, that he's shown on screen, and so like I that's part of the reason why I'm not fully invested into Boruto as much as I want to be, because I feel like I'm watching Naruto and I'm about to tear up sometimes. And not to that extent, obviously, but I don't know. The point is, like, I feel like he should be a lot stronger than what he's been portrayed as.
Because we can just take a look at a couple of things that happened during this. First, Shin Uchiha manages to slash him with a sword attack. Then we can also compare the sizes of the Divine Tree in the Naruto series and the Divine Tree in the fight against Momoshiki. And the Divine Tree that, Momoshiki was fighting at is so much smaller than the Divine Tree in Naruto. It's like the entire tree is the size of the height of the root of the tree in Naruto series. And yeah, Boruto destroyed that tree, but back in Naruto actually destroyed the much bigger tree with a casual Rasen Shuriken, and Naruto's not doing anything nearly as powerful in Boruto. And also, even if you take the fight against Ishiki when he goes Brian mode, it looks very unimpressive. They're trading blows and nothing really major is happening to the environment around them. Take a look at Madara versus 8th Gate Sky, because there's a lot of collateral damage in that fight and there's nothing to be seen in that particular situation with Brian mode.
I guess you could maybe argue that like Naruto's being very, I don't know, like specific when it comes to his attack potency, because like maybe he's just focusing all his attack pattern, like all his attack potency towards Ishiki. I will say I feel like it's very like that fight and the Momoshiki fight. I mean, if I really had to go off of just raw, like, you know.
So I'll just say one thing. That's just a blatant argument of ignorance, all because you're not shown to, like, blow up everything around you and damage, you know, and all this bullshit, whatever, like some Dragon Ball Z, yada yada, does not mean now you're somehow go backwards and are weaker than your stronger versions. Like, that doesn't make sense. Basically what Dygoknight's argumentation is, from what we visually can see objectively, right? The visual objective evidence. So basically with this logic, that means Rock Lee as a kid with Gates would be stronger than everybody or just way faster, okay? And come on, what are we doing? What are we doing? You know what I mean? So that's just, no, get the fuck out of here. Once again, there's tons of statements, tons of feats, etc. Jigen and Ishiki is like fucking beyond infinity and beyond, away, leagues away from fucking Madara, bro. Like, come on, what the fuck are we doing here? If we're gonna go that route, bro, like, come on, bro, like, that's just insane. Like, you know, like, that means Guy in part 1 is stronger than fucking Boruto characters. That means 8th Gate Guy is the strongest as well. That means fucking 5th Gate Kid Lee in the tuning exams is the strongest. You don't need to visually see things without knowing that can be the case regardless. That's all I'm saying. That's like for instance, we see 8th Gate Guy, right? And we see all the visual stuff he can do with speed, you name it, etc., and his power. Then we see Naruto and Base with just Sage Mode, right? 6-pass Sage Mode and Base. Okay, like, replicating the exact same feats and, like, forcing Madara to concede, basically, and then to go, like, absorb the Divine Tree, and then even to go get another Rinnegan because he just couldn't fuck with Base Sage Mode 6-path Naruto. All because Naruto's not having the same speed emphasis or sending air currents, you know, whatever, yada yada, doesn't mean he can't hit the same or hit harder, whatever you name it, you know? What's it called? Or, better yet, it's not as fast either. Like, that's just, that doesn't make any fucking sense. You know what I mean? If anything, it would be the same exact scaling, and that Naruto could be able to do everything basically a guy can do as well. Because, once again, he's scaling to Jubi Madara, and better yet, beating Jubi Madara, you know? So it doesn't make, it's basically just like, you would argue the higher possibility that Naruto would also be capable of these things, etc., you name it, yada yada yada, right? Because it doesn't make any sense. If Naruto wasn't as fast as 8th Gate Guy, or, you know, or as strong, whatever, yada yada, then how the fuck is he even beating up Jubi Madara? Like, you know, like, doesn't make sense. Like, that's just basic logic and scaling, you know? So that is completely dishonest and extremely ignorant on Dygoknight's part. You can't say, oh, we have to objectively, visually see these things, otherwise, therefore, now these characters are just weak or they're nowhere near. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's not how anime works. In every fucking anime, everyone power clips and goes further and further and further. They don't go backwards. You know, like, what are we on about? So that's crazy. I don't know about all that one, but
how I believe it should be, then I still feel like Naruto takes most of the forms against Madara. I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. There's like maybe Naruto should be much more powerful. It should be shown on page that he actually is that godlike shinobi, but then you watch it, and like, even if Naruto was focusing his attack potency or whatever, like, there should be like shockwaves around the entire battlefield whenever he punches somebody.
Yeah.
It just feels
well,
like,
if you just watch the anime, he's punching and you can see the shockwave. You can see the rocks being fucked up. And what are you on about, bro? Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
So what I like to do, I just like to imagine Naruto Shippuden
that's
at the
wild.
end of the series, how Naruto was, and then I scale that up to a Hokage version of him, kind of ignoring Boruto completely.
Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you did that. I think I honestly subconsciously do that myself sometimes. Like, even in verse battles videos that I talk about Hokage, Naruto, I think I often just try to think. I don't even honestly try to think of feats from Boruto. I kind of put my own hypothetical,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Naruto as the Hokage and how I feel like he should be scaled, because I mean, realistically, he should be many more tiers above Madara. You know what I'm saying? Especially at this point when he's got like what 20 plus years to get stronger and to train, and so I would assume
I would probably say that a Rinne Sharingan Madara would be an interesting fight against him. But I mean, like you said, it's difficult to say. And if you want to take the story as an indicative, then yes, Naruto is probably the strongest being ever, except for the Otsutsuki gods.
Mm-hmm. So what? Okay, so what do you think? Is there any versions of Madara that you think do beat Naruto?
I mean, if we take the Naruto that we see in the Boruto series, I think an EMS Madara takes him.
Yeah.
His EMS Madara, or Edo Madara, he uses his perfect Susanoo, he unsheathes his sword, and he slashes through mountaintops miles away just from the sheer pressure of his sword. And then when you come to Naruto in the Boruto series, he's clashing against people like Ada, and when he uses his Rasengan, for example, he just creates a crater that's about the size of the crater Sasuke creates in the Bell test when he uses a fireball jutsu against Kakashi. So there's that.
Maybe I guess maybe you could argue that like Naruto's not wanting to do some extensive damage to the environment.
Even when you take the Ishiki fight then, which is in another dimension, Naruto can just go crazy because there's no danger of destroying the Leaf Village.
Yeah.
Nothing really happens. So I guess
the only thing else I could argue about that is maybe he just felt like if he went all out, like maybe Sasuke and Boruto would be in danger. Like I don't know. That's like the only thing.
Yeah.
Another thing too is like I think it may not make a whole lot of sense, but I feel as though Naruto was just like limiting his attack potency just to stall for time. Like I don't think he was really worried about doing as much damage. I guess it doesn't really make sense to say this, but maybe he wasn't worried about doing too much damage as more of like trying to stall for time for Kawaki.
Yeah, because it could like drain his life force whenever he used Brian mode and stuff.
Well, honestly,
But
didn't Kurama say something like it's not really like the level of the attacks, it's just the fact that you're attacking him is what's shortening his lifespan. So I think that was what Naruto was like.
But also the implication was that he got much faster because all of a sudden he was reacting to the rods that Ishiki threw against them, and they couldn't do that before.
Right.
But even still, it's just weird to think about Naruto and any character in Boruto for that matter, because
it's an anomaly.
There's a little bit of
really
an inconsistency there.
It really is, and so and that's why sometimes I even want to just exclude Hokage Naruto. I don't mean to say that in a bad way. I just feel like I want to hype my boy up because I feel like he should be tiers and tiers above people like this Madara. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, I still think I'm not saying the box stops with dual Rinnegan and Rinne Sharingan Madara, but like you said, I think that's the fight I think is the closest in terms of who beats who. And if I'm putting the version of Naruto in my head against this Madara, I think Naruto wins.
True. Yeah, I can see that.
So.
And, but if we take, for example, the version of Naruto that fought against Sasuke in the Valley of the End, I would say Madara takes it. And we've done videos about that in the past.
Yeah.
So you guys can go check it out if you want to.
Which I agree. I mean, because I think at that point, Madara it's overwhelming, for Naruto 1v1, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, his best chance is to summon like a bunch of clones and have like all of them using Kurama avatar. And I don't know if he'd be able to pull like all 1,000 shadow clones. I mean, maybe he could. I mean, it's possible, but I mean that'd be his best bet, and even that's I don't know.
We don't even know exactly what Rinne Sharingan Madara can do because he is taken out of the story before he fights, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess this is a large tangent for me to complain about Boruto once again.
I mean,
especially when it comes to Naruto and Sasuke, I don't like how they're treated in the Boruto series. Sorry.
I mean, no one can really blame you. I mean, because again, most people who are Naruto fans typically complain about how Naruto and Sasuke.
That is true though. They do. They normally do complain, or they don't really fuck with it, or they're like, yeah, this is mid, or whatever. Yeah. So
some people who feel like they aren't nerfed and that maybe that the opponents are just that strong, which some of them sure, but like I feel like opponents like Delta shouldn't really be able to.
It doesn't feel like it though.
Yeah,
you know,
like
it doesn't really feel like it. Even with the strongest ones, they kind of feel a little lackluster in terms of power.
Yeah, well, no shade on Delta because I feel like she is a pretty tough opponent, but I remember watching or reading that fight. And I'm thinking like Naruto should have this fight wrapped up right now. Like, there's no reason why this fight.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, and I wasn't even trying to be funny. Like when I was watching, I was just like, I was watching with a friend of mine. I'm like, bro, Naruto should have wrapped this fight up right now. Maybe like they're just trying to like draw for time, because I know like Naruto
or something like that.
Yeah, well, like because I know. Let's be honest, Naruto had like that Kishimoto or like the animators have a habit of like prolonging an episode with meaningless content just for the sake of making it 30 minutes. So I feel like that was what they were doing because I feel like Naruto should have had that fight wrapped up way quicker.
Yeah, but in the manga that also lasted for a while. The problem is like she is immune to ninjutsu and she was absorbing Naruto's Rasengans and stuff, but Naruto could use thousands of shadow clones and attack her from all sides.
Bro, Sage Mode Hokage Naruto should have that fight wrapped up. I mean,
I think base Hokage Naruto should have that fight wrapped up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like at the most, if he just needed to like restrict himself, like yeah, like you said, base. So I don't know. It's plus doesn't he have like a arm of Hashirama? Like so I mean
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so weird sometimes. But
Hi guys, leave it in the comments below if you think Naruto is strong and Boruto if he feels strong, or if you think he should be a little bit more powerful than he apparently is.
be genuine.
All right, well, we'll leave it there. It was a really good video. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really gonna like it or dislike either. Like, it was mid for me. Like, I enjoyed it, but at the same time, towards the end, I was like, what the fuck? And then there's a certain other elements where I was like, yeah, this is a little, I don't know, but it was a good video. You know what I mean? I'll say that. It was a really good video, but overall, that's just kind of where I'm at with that. And that's just basically it. It is what it is. But you know, you at the end of the day, you know, that's all I'll say on that. You know, but you guys let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure to like and comment your thoughts down below. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe guys to the channel, especially if you want way more Naruto reactions along the way. And as always, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Batman out. Peace.